Amelia's hands trembled as she clutched the torn coat, staring at the man who'd just walked through her door. Tyler Jackson, the wealthiest rancher in 3 counties, standing in her threadbare shop, like he belonged in her world of poverty and broken dreams. "I need this mended," he said, his voice cutting through the silence like a blade. She wanted to laugh at the absurdity him, with everything asking her with nothing for help. But when their eyes met, something shifted, something dangerous, and Amelia knew her careful, controlled life was about to shatter. Before we dive into this story, please subscribe to our channel and stay with us until the very end. Comment below with the city you're watching from, so I can see how far this story has traveled. "How much?" Tyler asked. Amelia forced herself to look away from his face, focusing instead on the tear in his coat. 50 cents. That's all? It's a simple repair. Nothing about you seems simple. She felt her cheeks burn. You don't know anything about me, Mr. Jackson. Tyler. And you're right, I don't, but I'd like to. Amelia's needle paused mid-stitch. She'd heard these words before from other men who thought a poor seamstress was easy prey. The coat will be ready tomorrow. I'll wait. It'll take 3 hours. I'll wait, he repeated, settling into the rickety chair by the window. She wanted to tell him to leave to take his perfect face and his money and his attention somewhere else, anywhere else. But she needed the 50 cents. She always needed the money. The silence stretched between them as she worked, broken only by the whisper of thread through fabric. Amelia could feel his eyes on her, studying her, and it made her hands shake. Why do you do this? Tyler finally asked. Do what? Work yourself to exhaustion for pennies. Amelia's jaw tightened. Some of us don't have a choice, Mr. Jackson. Tyler. Some of us don't have a choice, Tyler. Everyone has choices. She laughed, bitter and sharp. Is that what you tell yourself? That the people breaking their backs in your fields choose to be poor? That I choose to live in a room with holes in the roof? That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? She set down her needle, meeting his gaze directly. What exactly did you mean when you walked into my shop, looked at my life, and decided it was a choice? Tyler stood, crossing to her workbench in 3 long strides. I meant that you're better than this. Anyone can see that. Better than what? Better than honest work. Better than survival. Better than settling. Settling. Amelia tasted the word like poison. You think I'm settling because I'm not living in a mansion? Because I don't have servants and silk dresses? I think you're settling because you've convinced yourself this is all you deserve. The words hit her like a physical blow. Amelia stood, trembling with rage and something else, something she didn't want to name. Get out. Amelia. Get out. Take your coat and your judgment and get out of my shop. Tyler didn't move. I'm sorry, that came out wrong. Did it? Or did it come out exactly how you meant it? I meant... He ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident in every line of his body. I meant that you're extraordinary. That anyone who spends 5 minutes with you can see that you're meant for more than mending torn coats in a shop that's falling apart. This shop is mine. These hands. She held them up, calloused and scarred. These hands built something from nothing. So don't you dare stand there and tell me what I'm meant for. You're right. Tyler's voice softened. I'm sorry. I had no right. Amelia sat back down, picking up her needle with shaking hands. Your coat will be ready in 2 hours. Let me make it up to you. Dinner. No. A walk then. Just a walk. No. Why not? She looked up at him, this man who had everything she'd ever dreamed of, and couldn't begin to understand what it meant to have nothing. Because men like you don't walk with women like me unless they want something. And I'm not for sale, Mr. Jackson. The hurt that flashed across his face was so genuine, it made her chest ache. I never thought you were. Then why are you still here? Because... Tyler hesitated, and for the first time, Amelia saw something vulnerable in his eyes. Because when I walked through that door, something changed, and I don't think I'm the only one who felt it." Amelia's heart hammered against her ribs. She wanted to deny it, to send him away and forget this conversation ever happened. But she'd built her life on truth, even when it hurt. "Feeling something doesn't mean acting on it," she said quietly. "Why not?" "Because feelings fade. And when they do, I'll still be here in this shop mending clothes, and you'll still be Tyler Jackson, the rancher with more money than God. That gap doesn't close just because we took a walk." "You don't know that." "Yes, I do." Amelia's voice cracked. "I've seen it happen. The wealthy man, the poor girl, the pretty promises. It always ends the same way." "I'm not other men." "Prove it. Leave." Tyler stared at her for a long moment. Then he walked to the door, paused with his hand on the frame. "I'll come back tomorrow for the coat. I'll have it ready." He left, and Amelia sat alone in the silence, her hands still trembling. She told herself it was anger. She told herself she'd done the right thing. She told herself she wasn't crying. But Tyler did come back. Not the next day, but 3 days later, with another torn coat. "This is deliberate," Amelia said, examining the rip. "Maybe. Definitely." She looked up at him. "You tore this on purpose. Can you fix it?" "Of course I can fix it. That's not the point." "Then what is the point?" Amelia set the coat down. "The point is that you're playing games, and I don't have time for games." "This isn't a game." Tyler leaned against the workbench. "I want to know you. Why?" "Because I can't stop thinking about you. Because every conversation we have makes me want 10 more. Because—" He stopped, shaking his head. "Because I've never met anyone like you. You've never met anyone poor before. I've never met anyone real before." The words hung between them, raw and honest. Amelia felt something crack in her chest, some carefully built wall beginning to crumble. "One walk," she heard herself say. "That's all." Tyler's smile could have lit the whole town. "When?" "Sunday. After church. I'll be here." "Tyler." She caught his arm as he turned to leave. "Don't make me regret this." "I won't." His hand covered hers, warm and solid. "I promise." Sunday came too quickly, and not fast enough. Amelia changed her dress 3 times before settling on her best, a simple blue cotton that had seen better days but was clean and pressed. She told herself it didn't matter what she wore. She told herself this was just a walk. She told herself a lot of lies that morning. Tyler arrived exactly on time, looking impossibly handsome in clothes that probably cost more than she made in a year. But when he smiled at her, all she saw was the man who'd waited 3 hours in her shop, who'd come back even after she'd thrown him out. "You look beautiful," he said. "You look rich." He laughed. "Is that a compliment?" "It's a fact." They walked in silence for a while, leaving the main street behind for the quieter paths that wound through the fields outside town. The autumn air was crisp, carrying the scent of dried grass and distant wood smoke. "Tell me about your family," Tyler said. "There's nothing to tell. My parents died when I was 15. No siblings. No one." "I'm sorry." "Don't be. I survived." "More than survived. You built a business." Amelia kicked at a stone. "Some business. A room full of other people's problems and not enough money to fix my own." "What would you do if money wasn't a problem?" The question caught her off guard. "What do you mean? If you could do anything, be anything, what would you choose?" Amelia stopped walking, turning to face him. "Why are you asking me this?" "Because I want to know what you dream about." "Dreams are for people who can afford them." "Everyone dreams, Amelia. Even people who pretend they don't." She looked away across the fields to the mountains beyond. "I'd design clothes. Real clothes, not just mend them. I'd create something beautiful, something that made people feel extraordinary when they wore it." "Then why don't you?" "Because fabric costs money. Because patterns and thread and needles cost money. Because everything costs money and I barely have enough to eat. Tyler was quiet for the moment. What if I helped you? Amelia's stomach dropped. No. Amelia. No. She started walking again faster now. This is exactly what I was afraid of. You think you can fix me with your money. That's not. Isn't it? The poor seamstress with big dreams rescued by the wealthy cowboy? It's a nice story, Tyler, but I'm not interested in being your charity project. He caught her arm, spinning her to face him. You think that's what this is? Charity? What else would it be? It's me seeing someone extraordinary and wanting to help her become everything she's meant to be. I'm already everything I'm meant to be. Amelia pulled away. This was a mistake. I should go. Wait. Thank you for the walk, Mr. Jackson. She left him standing in the field, and she didn't look back. Not once. But that night, lying in her cold room with the wind whistling through the cracks, Amelia couldn't stop thinking about his words. Everyone dreams. And maybe he was right. Maybe she did dream in the quiet moments before sleep of a life where she wasn't constantly fighting just to survive. Maybe she dreamed of more than she'd ever admitted. A week passed. Then two. Tyler didn't come back, and Amelia told herself she was relieved. She threw herself into work, taking on more repairs, working longer hours, anything to keep her mind occupied. Then Sarah Miller walked into her shop. Sarah Miller, the daughter of the wealthiest banker in town, Tyler's intended bride, according to all the gossip, stood in Amelia's doorway like a vision from another world. Her dress probably cost more than Amelia's entire shop. Miss Brooks. Sarah said, her voice sweet as poisoned honey. I need a dress altered. Amelia forced herself to remain professional. Of course. What needs to be done? Sarah held up a gown of emerald silk that made Amelia's breath catch. It was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. It's too long. Can you hem it? Yes. Good. Sarah's eyes swept the shop with barely concealed disdain. I need it for the Jackson Ranch Ball next week. Tyler's hosting, of course. I assume you've heard. Amelia's hands clenched at her sides. I don't follow society news, Miss Miller. No, I suppose you wouldn't. Sarah's smile was sharp. Tyler and I have been friends since childhood. Our families expect an announcement soon. Congratulations. Thank you. Sarah handed over the dress. I do hope you'll take special care with this. Tyler has such an eye for detail. He notices everything. The words were a calculated strike, and they hit their mark. Amelia took the dress, her hands steady despite the turmoil in her chest. It'll be ready in 3 days. Perfect. Sarah paused at the door. You know, Tyler mentioned he'd had a coat repaired here. Said you did excellent work. I try. I'm sure you do. Sarah's eyes glittered. It must be difficult working so hard for so little. But I suppose we all have our place in the world, don't we? Amelia said nothing, watching as Sarah swept out of the shop like a queen departing her throne room. Only when the door closed did she allow herself to breathe, to feel the full weight of the humiliation. She looked down at the emerald dress in her hands. This beautiful thing meant for a beautiful woman to wear to a ball where she'd stand at Tyler's side, where she'd probably accept his proposal, where Amelia Brooks would be nothing but a forgotten footnote. She should have felt angry. She should have felt jealous. Instead, she just felt tired. The dress took her 2 days to alter. Amelia poured every ounce of skill into it because no matter what Sarah Miller thought of her, she was still a professional. The hem was perfect, the stitching invisible, the drape flawless. Sarah came to collect it on the 3rd day, examining every inch with critical eyes. It'll do, she said, finally handing over the payment. Amelia counted the coins. This is half what we agreed. Is it how careless of me? Sarah's smile was all teeth. I'll send the rest later. Miss Miller. I really must run. So much to prepare for the ball. Good day, Miss Brooks. She was gone before Amelia could protest, leaving her standing there with half the payment and the certainty that the rest would never come. It wasn't the first time a wealthy client had cheated her. It wouldn't be the last, but it still hurt. Amelia was closing up the shop that evening when Tyler appeared in her doorway. She'd managed to avoid thinking about him for almost 3 hours. A new record. "What do you want?" she asked, not looking up from the lock. "To apologize." "For what?" "For pushing too hard. For making you uncomfortable. For—" He hesitated. "For everything." Amelia finally looked at him. He looked tired, she realized. There were shadows under his eyes that hadn't been there before. "Apology accepted. Good night, Mr. Jackson." "There's a ball at my ranch next week." "I know. I altered Sarah Miller's dress for it." Something flickered in Tyler's expression. "Sarah told you we're engaged." Amelia's laugh was hollow. "She implied it strongly enough." "We're not engaged. We're not anything. It's none of my business." "Amelia." "Tyler, please." She turned to face him fully. "What do you want from me? Really?" "I want you to come to the ball." The request was so unexpected that Amelia actually laughed. "You want me to come to your ball, wearing what exactly? My finest rags." "I'll provide a dress." "No." "Amelia." "No, I'm not your charity case, and I'm not your project. I'm just a seamstress who mends your coats. That's all this is. That's all it can be." Tyler stepped closer. "What if I don't believe that? Then you're a fool." "Maybe." He smiled, sad and small. "But I'm a fool who can't stop thinking about a woman who's too stubborn to accept help even when she needs it." "I don't need your help." "Everyone needs help sometimes." "Not from you. Not like this." Amelia's voice cracked. "Don't you understand? Every time you try to give me something, it just reminds me of everything I don't have. Everything I'll never have." "You could have it. All of it. If you'd just what become your mistress, your kept woman." Tyler's face went white. "Is that really what you think of me?" "I don't know what to think of you." Amelia felt tears burning behind her eyes. "I don't know why you keep coming back. I don't know what you want. And I don't know how to protect myself from you." The confession hung between them, raw and honest. Tyler reached for her hand, and this time Amelia didn't pull away. "I keep coming back," he said quietly, "because you're the first real thing I've encountered in years. Because when I'm with you, I'm not Tyler Jackson, the rancher with responsibilities and expectations. I'm just Tyler, and I haven't been just Tyler since I was a boy." "That's not enough." "I know." His thumb traced circles on her palm. "But it's the truth. And I think you deserve the truth, even if it's not what either of us wants to hear." Amelia pulled her hand away gently. "The truth is that you're going to marry Sarah Miller or someone like her. The truth is that I'm going to keep mending clothes until I die. The truth is that whatever this is between us, it can't go anywhere." "It could?" "No, Tyler, it can't, and you know it as well as I do." He looked at her for a long moment, and Amelia saw the exact instant he accepted she was right. Saw the light dim in his eyes, saw his shoulders drop slightly, saw the resignation settle over him like a shroud. "You're probably right," he said finally. "I know I am. But I'm still going to try." Before Amelia could respond, Tyler was gone, disappearing into the twilight, and leaving her alone with her convictions, and her loneliness, and the terrible traitorous part of her heart that wished she'd said yes. The dress arrived the next morning. It sat on Amelia's workbench like an accusation wrapped in tissue paper, so fine it was nearly transparent. She knew what it was before she opened it. Knew who it was from. She opened it anyway. The fabric spilled across her hands like liquid silver, catching the morning light and throwing it back in soft waves. It was the most exquisite thing Amelia had ever touched, silk so pure. It felt like water embroidered with tiny pearls that must have taken someone months to sew. A ball gown fit for a queen. The note pinned to the bodice read, simply, "Please, Tyler." "No," Amelia said to the empty shop. "Absolutely not." She wrapped it back up her hands, shaking with anger, and something else, something that felt dangerously like longing. This was exactly what she'd told him not to do. This was exactly the kind of gesture that would set the whole town talking, that would mark her as Tyler Jackson's charity project or worse. She'd return it today, right now. She'd march up to his ranch and throw the dress in his face and tell him to leave her alone once and for all. Amelia made it 3 steps toward the door before Mrs. Henderson walked in. "Oh, my stars," Mrs. Henderson breathed, staring at the dress. "Is that what I think it is?" Amelia's stomach sank. "It's nothing. That's a ball gown, dear. That's—" Mrs. Henderson's eyes went wide. "That's for the Jackson Ranch ball, isn't it?" "Mrs. Henderson, you're going—" "Oh, Amelia, how wonderful. I always knew Tyler Jackson had his eye on you." "It's not like that. I'm not going. I'm returning this right now." Mrs. Henderson's face fell. "But why, it's beautiful. You'd look like a princess." "I'm not a princess. I'm a seamstress, and I don't belong at Tyler Jackson's ball." "Nonsense. Everyone belongs where they're invited." Mrs. Henderson touched the silk reverently. "When's the last time you did something just for yourself? When's the last time you let yourself be happy?" The question hit harder than it should have. Amelia wrapped the dress back up quick and decisive. "I need to go. Can you watch the shop?" "Of course, dear. But Amelia—" Mrs. Henderson caught her arm. "Think about it. Just think about it." Amelia didn't answer. She was already out the door. The walk to Tyler's ranch took 40 minutes, and with every step, Amelia's resolve strengthened. She rehearsed what she'd say, how she'd make him understand that his generosity was just another kind of cruelty. She found him in the stable, brushing down a horse with long, steady strokes. He looked up when she entered, and the hope in his eyes made her want to scream. "Amelia!" She threw the wrapped dress at his feet. "No!" Tyler set down the brush. "You didn't even look at it." "I looked. It's beautiful." "The answer is still no." "Why not?" "Because I told you I wasn't your charity case. Because I told you I didn't want your money. Because you did exactly what I asked you not to do." "It's just a dress." "It's not just a dress." Amelia's voice cracked. "It's a statement. It's you telling the whole world that poor Amelia Brooks needs rescuing, that I can't take care of myself." "That's not what it means." "Then what does it mean, Tyler? Explain it to me." He moved toward her, slow and careful. "It means I want you there, at the ball, by my side. As what? Your date, your companion for the evening. What happens after the ball, Tyler? What happens when everyone's watching and gossiping, and your family is asking questions? I don't care what they think. You should, because I do." Amelia pressed her hands to her chest. "I care that they'll look at me and see someone who doesn't belong. I care that they'll whisper about how the poor seamstress caught herself a rich husband. I care that Sarah Miller will smile at me like she knows exactly what I am. And what are you, Amelia? I'm someone who knows her place." The words hung between them, bitter and final. Tyler picked up the dress, holding it out to her. "Your place is wherever you choose it to be." Easy to say when you've never had to fight for a place to stand. "You think my life is easy?" Tyler's voice hardened. "You think I don't fight? I fight every damn day to be someone other than what my family expects. To build something that matters instead of just maintaining what I inherited. That's different. Is it? Or do we both just want the same thing, to be seen for who we really are instead of what people assume?" Amelia wanted to argue, but the words stuck in her throat. Because maybe he was right. Maybe underneath all the money and status, Tyler Jackson was just as trapped as she was. "One night," Tyler said quietly. "Come to the ball for one night. If you hate it, if I'm wrong about everything, you never have to see me again." "You don't mean that." "Yes, I do." He pressed the dress into her hands. "One night, Amelia. That's all I'm asking." She looked down at the silk, at the hours of work someone had poured into creating something so beautiful. She thought about Mrs. Henderson's question. When was the last time she'd let herself be happy? One night, she heard herself say, "But this doesn't change anything." Tyler's smile was sad. "I know. Amelia left before she could change her mind, clutching the dress like it might dissolve if she loosened her grip. She didn't see Sarah Miller watching from the house, didn't see the fury twisting her perfect features. But she would. Soon enough she would. Dad. The next 3 days passed in a blur of anxiety and anticipation. Amelia tried on the dress exactly once, standing in front of her cracked mirror and barely recognizing the woman staring back. She looked like someone from a fairy tale, someone who belonged in Tyler's world. She looked like a fraud. "Stop it," she told her reflection. "One night. You can survive one night." The knock on her door made her jump. She'd been expecting Tyler, but it was old Mr. Fletcher from the general store. "Package for you, Miss Brooks," he said, handing over a small box. "I didn't order anything." "Someone did." Mr. Fletcher's eyes twinkled. "Big night coming up, I hear." Amelia waited until he left before opening the box. Inside were shoes, delicate silver slippers that matched the dress perfectly. No note this time, but she didn't need one. "Damn you, Tyler Jackson," she whispered, even as she tried them on. They fit perfectly. The night of the ball arrived too quickly. Amelia dressed slowly, her hands fumbling with the tiny buttons running down the back of the gown. She'd styled her hair as best she could, pinning it up with the few decent hairpins she owned. She had no jewelry, no gloves, no fancy accessories. She looked in the mirror and saw a seamstress playing dress-up. The carriage Tyler sent arrived at precisely 7. Amelia climbed in, feeling like she was stepping into a dream or a nightmare. The driver didn't speak, just nodded politely and set the horses moving. The ranch was transformed. Lanterns hung from every tree, casting golden light across the grounds. Carriages lined the drive, each one finer than the last. Music drifted from the house, elegant and refined. Amelia's courage nearly failed her. "Miss Brooks," a voice said, and she turned to find Tyler standing beside the carriage offering his hand. He wore a black suit that made him look like he'd stepped out of a magazine, but his eyes were only on her. "You came," he said. "I said I would." "You look—" He stopped, shaking his head. "There aren't words." "Don't." Amelia's voice was sharp. "Please don't." Tyler's hand tightened on hers. "One night. I promised you one night and I mean it. No pressure. No expectations. Just dance with me, eat some food, and if you want to leave after an hour, I'll take you home myself. Your guests can wait." He led her toward the house, and Amelia felt every eye turn toward them. Whispers followed in their wake, a tide of speculation and judgment. Sarah Miller stood at the entrance in her emerald dress, and the look she gave Amelia could have frozen hell itself. "Tyler," Sarah said, her voice dripping honey and venom. "I see you brought a guest." "Sarah." Tyler's tone was polite but distant. "You remember Amelia Brooks?" "Of course. The seamstress." Sarah's eyes raked over Amelia's dress. "That's quite a gown. Family heirloom." "A gift," Amelia said before she could stop herself. Sarah's smile sharpened. "How generous. Tyler, your mother is looking for you. Something about the announcement?" Tyler's jaw tightened. "There is no announcement." "Are you sure?" Because she seemed quite certain. "Excuse us, Sarah." Tyler pulled Amelia past her into the house, and Amelia could feel Sarah's eyes boring into her back. "What announcement?" Amelia asked. "Nothing. My mother has ideas. I have different ones." "Tyler, dance with me." It wasn't a question. Tyler led her onto the floor as a waltz began. And suddenly, Amelia was in his arms, moving to music she barely knew. She stumbled and Tyler caught her, his hand firm on her waist. "I don't know how to do this," she whispered. "Follow my lead. Trust me." And somehow, impossibly, she did. They moved together, and the room fell away until it was just the two of them, just this moment of music and touch, and something that felt dangerously like belonging. "See?" Tyler murmured. "You fit perfectly." "For now," Amelia said. "But the music always ends." "Then we'll dance another." They did. 3 more waltzes while the crowd watched and whispered and judged. Amelia felt their stares like brands marking her as an outsider, an interloper in their world of wealth and privilege. But when she looked at Tyler, none of it mattered. That should have scared her. It didn't scare her nearly enough. They were standing by the refreshment table when Tyler's mother descended on them like a hawk spotting prey. "Tyler," she said, her voice cold enough to frost glass. "A word. In private. Mother, this is Amelia Brooks. Amelia, my mother, Catherine Jackson." Catherine's eyes swept over Amelia with barely concealed disdain. "Yes, I'm aware of who she is. Tyler, we need to speak, now." "Anything you have to say, you can say in front of Amelia." "Very well." Catherine's smile was sharp. "I've just spoken with Richard Miller. He's under the impression that you and Sarah have an understanding. I assured him that his daughter's expectations would not be disappointed." Tyler's hand found Amelia's squeezing tight. "Then you spoke prematurely. I have no intention of marrying Sarah Miller." The words dropped into the conversation like stones into still water. Catherine's face went white with fury. "You will not embarrass this family." "I'm not trying to embarrass anyone. I'm trying to live my own life." "By parading your—" Catherine's eyes flicked to Amelia. "Your charity project in front of all our friends." Amelia felt the words like a slap. She pulled her hand from Tyler's, stepping back. "Excuse me." "Amelia." But she was already moving, pushing through the crowd toward the door. She heard Tyler calling her name, heard the whispers growing louder, heard Sarah Miller's laugh, cutting through it all like a knife. She made it to the garden before Tyler caught up with her. "Amelia, wait." "Don't." She spun to face him, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Don't tell me she didn't mean it. Don't tell me it'll be okay. Because she did mean it, and it won't be okay. This was a mistake. I never should have come. You belong here, just as much as anyone." "No, I don't." Amelia's voice broke. "I belong in my shop, mending clothes. That's my world. This—" She gestured at the house, the lights, the music. "This is yours, and they're never going to overlap no matter how much you want them to." "What if I don't care?" "You should care. Because I'm not strong enough for this Tyler. I can't stand there and smile while your mother calls me a charity project. I can't watch Sarah Miller gloat. I can't pretend I belong in a world that will never accept me." Tyler's hands cupped her face, his thumbs wiping away her tears. "Then don't pretend. Be exactly who you are, the strongest, most remarkable woman I've ever met." "I'm not remarkable. I'm just stubborn. You're both." He leaned his forehead against hers. "And I'm falling in love with you." The words should have filled her with joy. Instead, they felt like a death sentence. "Don't," Amelia whispered. "Please don't love me." Too late. "Tyler." A voice cut through the darkness. How touching. They sprang apart to find Sarah standing there, her face twisted with malice. "The cowboy and the charity case. It's almost poetic." "Sarah, leave," Tyler said. "Oh, I don't think so. You see, I have something Amelia might want to hear." Sarah's smile was cruel. "Did Tyler tell you about his father's will?" Amelia's stomach dropped. "What?" "Sarah, don't. The will states that Tyler must marry before his 30th birthday or lose half the ranch. That birthday is in 3 weeks. Sarah laughed. "So you see, Amelia, you're not just a charity project. You're a convenience, a solution to Tyler's little problem." The words hit like physical blows. Amelia looked at Tyler, saw the guilt written across his face, and felt something inside her shatter. "Is it true?" she asked. "Amelia, let me explain. Is it true?" Tyler's silence was answer enough. Amelia ran. She didn't stop running until her lungs burned and her feet bled through the delicate silver slippers. The ball gown caught on branches and tore, but Amelia didn't care. She needed distance. She needed air. She needed to not hear Tyler's voice calling her name through the darkness. "Amelia, please." He was faster than she was. He caught her arm halfway down the drive, spinning her around. She slapped him. The crack echoed through the night. Tyler's head snapped to the side, but he didn't let go. "I deserve that," he said. "You deserve worse." Amelia wrenched free, her chest heaving. 3 weeks. Your birthday is in 3 weeks and you didn't think to mention it. I was going to tell you. When after you proposed. After I said yes and you secured your inheritance. It's not like that. Then what is it like? Tyler explained to me how this isn't exactly what it looks like. Tyler ran a hand through his hair, his composure cracking. My father's will is a noose around my neck. Yes, I have to marry before 30 or lose half the ranch. Yes, I'm running out of time. But that's not why I pursued you. Isn't it convenient timing? Don't you think you meet a desperate seamstress right when you need a wife? You're not desperate. Yes, I am. Amelia's voice broke. I'm so desperate that I actually started to believe you might care about me. That this might be real. I'm an idiot. You're not an idiot. And this is real. Everything I feel for you is real. How am I supposed to believe that? How am I supposed to trust anything you say when you've been lying to me from the start? I never lied. You omitted the truth, which is the same damn thing. Amelia pressed her hands to her face. Did you think I wouldn't find out? Did you think you could just marry me and I'd never know why? I planned to tell you tonight, before Sarah. Before Sarah told me the truth, you were too cowardly to share. Amelia laughed bitterly. At least she's honest about hating me. Tyler grabbed her shoulders. I don't need you, Amelia. I want you. There's a difference. Is there? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like I'm the solution to your problem. The poor girl who'd be grateful enough to say yes. That's not... Tyler? Katherine Jackson's voice cut through their argument. She stood on the drive, her face a mask of fury. Get back to the house, now! Mother, this isn't... Now, Tyler, we have guests, and you... Katherine's eyes fixed on Amelia. You need to leave, immediately. She's not going anywhere until we talk, Tyler said. There's nothing to talk about. This farce ends tonight. It's not a farce. It absolutely is. Katherine moved closer, her voice dropping to ice. I know what you're trying to do, and I won't allow it. You will not marry this woman to save the ranch. I'll marry whoever I damn well please. Even if it costs you everything. Even if the ranch fails because you chose her over your responsibilities. The words hit their mark. Amelia saw Tyler flinch, saw the conflict war across his face. She'd seen enough. I'm leaving, she said quietly. Amelia? Your mother's right. This was a mistake. All of it. She met his eyes, willing herself not to cry. Thank you for the dress. I'll return it tomorrow. Keep it. I don't want it. I don't want any of this. Amelia turned to Katherine. You can rest easy, Mrs. Jackson. I have no intention of marrying your son. I have no intention of ever seeing him again. She walked away, and this time Tyler didn't follow. The walk back to town took over an hour. Amelia's feet bled, her dress was ruined, and somewhere around mile 2 she started crying and couldn't stop. By the time she reached her shop, dawn was breaking, and she felt like she'd aged a decade. Mrs. Henderson was waiting on her doorstep. Oh, honey, she said, taking in Amelia's appearance. Oh, sweetheart, come here. Amelia collapsed into her arms and sobbed. 3 days passed. Amelia worked from dawn until dark, taking on every repair job she could find. She didn't eat much. She didn't sleep. She just worked because working meant not thinking, and not thinking meant not feeling. Tyler came by on the second day. Amelia locked the door and refused to answer. He came back on the third day with flowers. She threw them in the trash without opening the door. On the fourth day, he stopped coming. Amelia told herself she was relieved. She told herself this was for the best. She told herself a lot of lies that week. The truth was that her shop felt emptier without him in it. The truth was that she looked at the door every time it opened, hoping. The truth was that she was miserable, and it was her own fault for falling in love with a man who could never really be hers. "You're being stubborn," Mrs. Henderson said, watching Amelia butcher a simple hem for the third time. "I'm being smart." "You're being scared. There's a difference." Amelia set down her needle. "He lied to me. He omitted information. Not the same thing. Whose side are you on?" "Yours always, but that doesn't mean I can't tell you when you're making a mistake." Mrs. Henderson sat across from her. "Did he actually propose?" "No." "Did he ask you to marry him to save his ranch?" "No, but—" "Did he ever treat you like anything less than extraordinary?" Amelia's throat tightened. "That's not the point." "Then what is the point, dear?" "The point is that I can't trust him. The point is that I'll never know if he really loves me or if I'm just convenient." "So ask him." "I can't." "Why not? You're brave enough to build a business from nothing. You're brave enough to stand up to his mother. But you're not brave enough to have one honest conversation." Before Amelia could answer, the door opened and Sarah Miller walked in. Amelia's hands clenched. "Get out." "I'm a customer," Sarah said sweetly. "You can't refuse service." "Watch me. Even if I'm here to apologize." That stopped Amelia cold. "What?" Sarah's perfect composure cracked slightly. "I was cruel at the ball, unnecessarily cruel, and I'm sorry." "Why?" "Because Tyler told you to apologize." "Tyler doesn't know I'm here. In fact, if he knew, he'd probably lock me in the barn." Sarah's laugh was bitter. "He's been insufferable for days. Snapping at everyone, refusing to eat, spending all his time staring at nothing." "Good," Amelia said, but her heart wasn't in it. "He loves you, you know, really loves you. It's nauseating." "If that's your apology, that's not why I'm here." Sarah took a breath. "I'm here to tell you that I told him I'd lie. About the will. About his father's conditions." Amelia went very still. "What?" "There's a clause in the will. Tyler does have to marry before 30. But I lied about the timeline. His birthday isn't in 3 weeks, it's in 6 months." The words didn't make sense at first. Then they did, and Amelia felt like she'd been punched. "Why would you do that?" "Because I was jealous. Because I wanted Tyler for myself. Because I thought if I could drive you away quickly enough, he'd marry me instead." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "But it didn't work. He won't even look at me. He barely looks at anyone. He just works and stares and looks like a man who lost everything that mattered." Amelia's hands were shaking. 6 months. 6 months. Which means he's been pursuing you for 3 weeks without any pressure from the will. Which means I was wrong." Amelia sat down hard. "Oh God, I was wrong." "Yes, you were." Sarah moved toward the door. "I'm still in love with him. I probably always will be. But he's never looked at me the way he looks at you. And I finally realized that some battles aren't worth fighting. Sarah, I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know the truth." She paused at the door. "He's a good man, Amelia. Stubborn as hell, but good. Don't let pride cost you what you actually want." She left, and Amelia sat in the silence, her mind racing. 6 months. Tyler had 6 months, which meant the urgency she'd assumed didn't exist. Which meant every moment they'd spent together, every word he'd said, every look he'd given her, none of it was driven by desperation. It was just him, choosing her, wanting her. "Oh God," she whispered again. "What have I done?" She ran, not away this time, but toward Tyler's ranch, toward the man she'd sent away, toward the terrifying possibility that maybe, just maybe, she'd been wrong about everything. The ranch hands looked up as she passed, but Amelia didn't slow down. She found Tyler in the same place she'd left him a week ago, the stable, brushing down a horse with mechanical precision. "Tyler." He turned, and the look on his face nearly broke her. He was thinner, with shadows under his eyes and a hollowness to his cheeks. He looked like a man who'd stopped caring about anything. "Amelia." Her name came out like a prayer. "What are you doing here?" "Sarah told me. About the will. About the timeline." Tyler set down the brush slowly. She had no right. She had every right, because I was wrong, about you, about everything. You weren't wrong. Yes, I was. Amelia moved closer. I was so scared of being hurt that I didn't stop to think. I didn't ask questions. I just assumed the worst and ran. You had reason to assume. I should have told you about the will from the start. Why didn't you? Tyler leaned against the stall, exhaustion written in every line of his body. Because I knew how it would sound. I knew you'd think exactly what you did, think that you were convenient, that I needed you instead of wanting you. And what do you want, Tyler, really? He looked at her then, and Amelia saw everything he felt written across his face. I want you. Not because of my father's will or my family's expectations or anything practical. I want you because you make me laugh, because you challenge me, because when I'm with you, I'm the man I want to be instead of the man I'm supposed to be. Tyler, I want to wake up next to you every morning and fall asleep beside you every night. I want to hear about your dreams and help you build them. I want to fight with you and make up with you and grow old with you. He crossed to her, taking her hands. I want everything, Amelia. And if that scares you, if that's too much, I understand. But I'm done pretending I feel anything less. Amelia's vision blurred with tears. I'm terrified. So am I. What if we fail? What if your family never accepts me? What if... Tyler kissed her. It was soft and desperate and perfect, and Amelia felt something inside her finally settle. This was real. This was right. This was worth fighting for. When they broke apart, Tyler rested his forehead against hers. What if we succeed? What if we build something beautiful together? What if we're happy? I don't know how to be happy, Amelia whispered. Then we'll learn together. She kissed him again, harder this time, pouring every ounce of feeling into it. When they separated, she was crying and laughing at the same time. I love you, she said. I'm still terrified, and I still don't know how this works, but I love you. Tyler's smile could have lit the whole world. Say it again. I love you, Tyler Jackson. Again. I love... Tyler. A ranch hand burst into the stable, his face white with panic. Your mother. There's been an accident. The joy drained from Tyler's face. What happened? The carriage. It overturned on the North Road. She's hurt bad. The doctor's with her now, but... The hand swallowed hard. You should come. Tyler was already moving. Get my horse. I'm coming with you, Amelia said. You don't have to. I'm coming. They rode hard to the main house where chaos reigned. Servants rushed back and forth, their faces tight with worry. The doctor met them at the door. How bad? Tyler asked. Bad. Internal injuries, possibly. I've done what I can, but... The doctor shook his head. She's asking for you. Catherine Jackson lay in her bed, her face ashen against the white pillows. When she saw Tyler, something in her expression crumbled. Tyler, she whispered. He took her hand. I'm here, Mother. I'm sorry. For everything. For pushing you. For trying to control your life. Catherine's eyes found Amelia. For the way I treated her. Mother, save your strength. No, I need to say this. Catherine's grip tightened. Your father's will. The marriage clause. It wasn't about the ranch. Tyler froze. What? It was about you. About making sure you didn't spend your whole life alone like he did before he met me. Tears slipped down Catherine's cheeks. He wanted you to find love. Real love. And I twisted it into something else. Something about duty and status and maintaining appearances. Mother, marry her, Tyler. Marry the girl who makes you look at her like your father looked at me. Marry her and be happy. That's all he ever wanted for you. Catherine's eyes closed, and for a terrible moment Amelia thought she was gone. But her chest still rose and fell, shallow but steady. She'll live, the doctor said quietly. But she needs rest. Months of it. Tyler nodded numbly, still holding his mother's hand. Amelia moved to his side, placing her hand on his shoulder. He covered it with his own, and they stood there together, watching Catherine sleep. 6 months, Tyler said finally. I have 6 months to find a wife, or I lose half the ranch. But it doesn't matter. None. Amelia's heart swelled. Then ask me. Tyler turned to face her. What? Ask me, Tyler. Right now. Right here. Amelia, this isn't, you don't have to. She cupped his face in her hands. I know I don't have to. I want to. Ask me. Tyler's eyes searched hers. Then slowly he dropped to one knee. There was no ring, no prepared speech, no grand romantic gesture. Just Tyler, looking up at her with his heart in his eyes. Amelia Brooks, will you marry me? Yes, she said, pulling him to his feet. Yes, yes, yes. They kissed, and Catherine stirred in her sleep, a small smile touching her lips. Outside the window, Sarah Miller watched from the garden, tears streaming down her face. She'd lost Tyler forever. But watching him with Amelia, seeing the pure joy radiating from them both, she found she couldn't hate them for it. Some loves were meant to be. This was one of them. Sarah turned away, leaving them to their happiness, and didn't look back. The news of their engagement spread through town like wildfire. By morning, everyone knew that Tyler Jackson had proposed to the seamstress, and opinions were divided sharply down the middle. Amelia discovered this when she returned to her shop the next day. A brick had been thrown through her window during the night, with a note attached, "Gold digger." She was sweeping up the glass when Tyler arrived. "I'll pay for it," he said immediately. "No, you won't." Amelia didn't look up. "This is my shop, my responsibility." "Amelia, if we're going to do this, really do this, then I need to keep being me. That means I fix my own windows." Tyler was quiet for a moment. Then he picked up a broom and started helping. They worked in silence until the glass was cleared, and then he pulled her into his arms. "I'm sorry," he said, "for what you didn't throw the brick, for what's coming, the gossip, the judgment. People aren't going to make this easy." Amelia pulled back to look at him. "Did you think I didn't know that I've been poor my whole life, Tyler? I know exactly what people think of me. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Then let it get worse. I'm not breaking this engagement because some coward threw a brick." She kissed him hard. "I said yes, I meant it, and I'm not running away again." Tyler's smile was fierce. "Have I mentioned that I love you? Not in the last hour. Then I'm falling behind." He kissed her forehead, her nose, her lips. "I love you. I love you. I love—" The door opened and Mrs. Henderson rushed in, her face flushed with excitement. "Amelia, Tyler, I just heard. Is it true? Are you really engaged?" Amelia laughed. "It's true," Mrs. Henderson squealed, pulling them both into a hug. "Oh, this is wonderful. Have you set a date? Where will you have the ceremony? What will you wear?" "We just got engaged last night," Amelia said. "We haven't thought that far ahead." "Well, you need to think fast. If Tyler's birthday is in 6 months, you'll want to marry well before then. And there's so much to plan, the dress, the flowers, the guests." "Mrs. Henderson?" Tyler interrupted gently. "We're keeping it small, just family and close friends." "Small?" Mrs. Henderson looked scandalized. "Tyler, you're one of the most prominent men in the county. People can expect whatever they want. This is our wedding and we'll do it our way." Mrs. Henderson opened her mouth to argue, then seemed to see something in Tyler's face that changed her mind. "Of course. Whatever makes you both happy." After she left, Tyler turned to Amelia. "How small are we talking?" "I don't know. I've never planned a wedding before." "Me neither. Should we just elope?" Amelia's heart jumped. "Could we? We could do anything we want." Tyler took her hands. "What do you want, Amelia, really?" She thought about it. About big ceremonies with hundreds of guests staring at her, judging her. About trying to fit into a world that didn't want her. About pretending to be something she wasn't. "I want it to be real," she said finally. "No pretense, no show. Just you and me and the people who actually care about us." then that's what we'll have. But reality proved more complicated than intention. Catherine recovered enough to sit up in bed, had opinions. "The church is too small," she said when Tyler and Amelia visited her later that week. "We'll need the cathedral in the city." "We're not getting married in the city," Tyler said. "Tyler, be reasonable. Your father was a prominent man. People will expect—" "I don't care what people expect, Mother. We're having a small ceremony here in town. That's final." Catherine's lips pressed into a thin line. "And what about the reception? Surely you'll allow me to host something at the ranch." Tyler looked at Amelia, and she saw the conflict in his eyes. He was trying to balance his mother's expectations with his promise to her, and it was tearing him apart. "A small reception," Amelia heard herself say. "Nothing extravagant, just dinner for close friends." Catherine's face softened slightly. "I can work with that." After they left, Tyler squeezed Amelia's hand. "You didn't have to agree to that." "Yes, I did. She's your mother, Tyler, and she almost died. We can give her this." "But you wanted small." "And it will be small. We'll just make sure the guest list stays manageable." Amelia leaned against his shoulder. "Besides, I'm going to be part of this family. I might as well start learning how to compromise." Tyler stopped walking, turning to face her. "You're remarkable. You know that. You keep saying that. Because it keeps being true." They were still standing there, wrapped in each other, when a voice called out, "Tyler Jackson." They turned to find Sheriff Morrison approaching, his face grave. Tyler's whole body tensed. "What's wrong?" Tyler asked. "There's been trouble at your north pasture. Fences cut, cattle missing. Looks like rustlers." Tyler swore under his breath. "How many head?" 20, maybe 30. "Hard to say until we do a full count. That's thousands of dollars." "I know, I've got deputies searching, but I wanted to tell you directly." Morrison's eyes flicked to Amelia. "Miss Brooks, congratulations on your engagement." "Thank you, Sheriff." After Morrison left, Tyler stood frozen, his jaw clenched tight. Amelia touched his arm. "Tyler, the ranch can't afford this. Not now." He ran a hand through his hair. "We're already stretched thin from my father's medical bills before he died. Losing 30 head. We'll figure it out. How the bank's already been asking questions about loans, if they think we're vulnerable." Tyler stopped shaking his head. "I need to get back to the ranch. Check the damage myself." "I'll come with you." "You don't have to." "Tyler." Amelia's voice was firm. "We're engaged. That means your problems are my problems. So I'm coming." He looked like he wanted to argue, but instead, he just nodded. "All right. Let's go." The north pasture was worse than Morrison had described. Not just fences cut, but deliberately destroyed. Posts pulled up, wire tangled and useless. It would take weeks to repair. "This wasn't rustlers," Tyler said, examining the damage. "This was sabotage." "Who would do this?" Amelia asked. "Someone who wants to hurt me. Or—" His eyes hardened. "Someone who wants to stop our wedding." "That's crazy. Is it?" "Think about it, Amelia. If I can't maintain the ranch, if I look weak or unstable, the bank could call in my loans. I'd be forced to sell half the property just to stay afloat." "But you'd still meet the terms of the will." "Barely. And I'd lose everything my father built." Tyler kicked at a broken fence post. "This is exactly what they want." "Who's they?" "Richard Miller, for one. Sarah's father. He's been trying to buy this land for years. And now that I've rejected Sarah—" Tyler's face darkened. "He has motivation." Amelia's stomach churned. "You think he'd go this far?" "I think desperate men do desperate things. And Richard Miller is nothing if not desperate to expand his holdings." They spent the rest of the day surveying the damage and making plans for repairs. By the time they returned to the main house, Amelia was exhausted, and Tyler looked ready to murder someone. Catherine was waiting in the parlor. "How bad?" she asked. "Bad. 32 head missing, 3 miles of fence destroyed, at least $10,000 in damages and lost livestock." Catherine's face went pale. We don't have $10,000. I know. Tyler, I said I know, Mother. Tyler poured himself a whiskey with shaking hands. I'm working on it. What if... Catherine hesitated. What if you talked to Richard Miller? Maybe came to some arrangement? Absolutely not. But if he's willing to help... He's not willing to help. He's willing to buy us out at a fraction of what the land's worth. That's not help, that's robbery. But we might not have a choice. There's always a choice. Tyler slammed the glass down. I will not sell my father's legacy to that vulture. I'll find another way. Amelia had been standing silent in the doorway, but now she stepped forward. What if I helped... Both Tyler and Catherine turned to stare at her. What? Tyler asked. I have some money saved. Not much, but... No. Tyler's voice was hard. Absolutely not. Tyler, listen. No, you listen. I'm not taking your money. You've worked too hard for it. And this ranch is important to you. Let me help. It's not your responsibility. It is if we're getting married. Amelia's voice rose. That's what marriage means, Tyler. Sharing burdens. Supporting each other. Or did you only want me when everything was perfect? The words hit him like a slap. Tyler set down his glass carefully. That's not fair. Isn't it? You want me to be part of your life, but you won't let me help when things get hard? I don't want you to sacrifice everything you've built. And I don't want to stand by helpless while you lose everything your father built. So which is more important? Your pride or our future? Catherine cleared her throat. I'll leave you two alone. After she left, Tyler and Amelia stood in heavy silence. Finally, Tyler spoke. How much do you have saved? About $800. His eyes widened. 800, Amelia, that's years of work. I know, and I'm offering it freely. No conditions, no expectations. I can't take it? Yes, you can. Because that's what people do when they love each other. They help. Amelia crossed to him, taking his hands. Please, let me do this. Tyler pulled her close, burying his face in her hair. What did I do to deserve you? Probably something terrible in a past life. She felt him laugh against her shoulder. So you'll take it. I'll take it. As a loan. Tyler. A loan, Amelia. I'll pay you back every penny with interest. She wanted to argue, but she saw the steel in his eyes and knew this was non-negotiable. Fine. A loan. They sealed it with a kiss, but Amelia couldn't shake the feeling that they were only treating symptoms, not the disease. Someone wanted Tyler to fail, and $800 wouldn't stop them. Tiens. The repairs began the next morning. Tyler hired every available ranch hand working alongside them from dawn until dusk. Amelia helped where she could, bringing water and food, keeping records of expenses. It was during one of these trips to the pasture that she overheard two hands talking. Heard it was Miller's men who cut the fences. You got proof? Nah, but everyone knows Miller wants this land. And now that Tyler's marrying that seamstress instead of Sarah, careful, she might hear you. Too late. Amelia stepped around the corner and both men went red. Miss Brooks. Is it true? Are people saying Richard Miller did this? The hands exchanged glances. It's just talk, ma'am. Talk based on what? Someone saw Miller's foreman near the north pasture 2 days before the fences were cut. Could be coincidence. Or it could be sabotage. Amelia's mind raced. Did anyone tell the sheriff? Wouldn't do any good. Miller's got the sheriff in his pocket. Everyone knows it. Amelia thanked them and headed back to the house, her thoughts churning. If Richard Miller was behind this, and if the sheriff wouldn't help, then they needed evidence. Real evidence that couldn't be ignored. She found Tyler in the office, buried in ledgers. I need to talk to you, she said. He looked up, exhaustion written across his face. About what? About Richard Miller. About proving he's behind the sabotage. Tyler set down his pen. Even if he is, we can't prove it. Maybe we can. Maybe if we... Amelia stopped. What if we set a trap? What kind of trap? We let it slip that you're moving cattle to the east pasture. Make it seem like easy pickings. Then we watch and wait. Tyler was already shaking his head. Too dangerous. More dangerous than losing the ranch. If Miller's men catch you, I wasn't planning on being there. You and the hands can handle the watching. I just think we need to be smart about this. Tyler studied her for a long moment. When did you become a tactician? When I realized my fiancé's legacy was at stake. She moved around the desk, perching on the edge. We can't keep playing defense, Tyler. We need to go on offense. You're right. He pulled her onto his lap. But I still don't like it. You don't have to like it. You just have to trust me. I do trust you. That's what scares me. They spent the next hour planning, working out details and contingencies. By the time they finished, they had a solid strategy. Now, they just needed it to work. 3 nights later, Tyler and 6 of his most trusted men hid in the shadows near the east pasture. Amelia had done her part accidentally, mentioning to Mrs. Henderson that Tyler was moving valuable breeding stock to the less secure eastern fence line. Mrs. Henderson, bless her, had spread the gossip like wildfire. Now they waited. This might not work, one of the hands whispered. It'll work, Tyler said with more confidence than he felt. Just stay quiet. An hour passed, then 2. Tyler was starting to think they'd wasted a night when he heard the sound of horses approaching. He signaled his men to stay hidden and watched as 4 riders approached the fence line. Even in the darkness, Tyler recognized the lead rider's build. Samuel Garrett, Richard Miller's foreman. Tyler waited until they'd started cutting the fence before stepping out of the shadows. Evening, gentlemen. The riders spun around. Garrett's hand went to his gun, but found himself staring down the barrels of 6 rifles. I wouldn't, Tyler said calmly. Sheriff Morrison, you can come out now. Morrison emerged from behind a nearby tree, and Garrett's face went white. Tyler had convinced the sheriff to come by appealing to his conscience, and by pointing out that being on the wrong side of this would end his career. Samuel Garrett, Morrison said, you're under arrest for trespassing and destruction of property. You can't prove anything. I just watched you cut that fence. That's all the proof I need. Morrison gestured to his deputies who'd been hiding nearby. Take them in. As the men were led away in handcuffs, Tyler felt something loosen in his chest. They'd won. For now. But Richard Miller wasn't finished. 2 days later, Tyler received notice that the bank was calling in his loans. All of them. Due in 30 days. He stared at the paper in disbelief. They can't do this. They can if they claim you're a credit risk, Catherine said quietly. And with the sabotage and the missing cattle. But we caught Miller's men. We have proof. Miller's on the bank's board of directors, Tyler. He has influence. Tyler did the math in his head. Even with Amelia's $800, even if they sold every non-essential asset, they'd still be short, by thousands. We'll lose everything, he said. Not everything. We could sell the north pasture. No, that's prime grazing land. Without it, the ranch isn't viable long-term. Then what do we do? Tyler was silent for a long moment. Then he stood. I need to talk to Amelia. He found her at her shop working on a dress that would never be finished. She looked up when he entered, and her face fell at his expression. What happened? He told her. All of it. The called loans, the impossible timeline, the certain foreclosure. When he finished, Amelia was pale but composed. How much do you need? She asked. Amelia, no. How much? $5,000. Tyler laughed bitterly. Might as well be $5 million. Amelia stood pacing the small shop. What if... She stopped. What if we asked for help? From who? The town. The people you've employed, the families you've helped over the years. What if we asked them to help save the ranch? Tyler shook his head. They don't have that kind of money. Not individually, but together. Amelia's eyes were bright. Tyler, you've been part of this community your whole life. You've helped people through hard times, given jobs when no one else would supported local businesses. Maybe it's time to let them return the favor. It feels like begging. It's not begging. It's community. It's people taking care of each other. She took his hands. Let me do this. Let me show them who you really are. Tyler wanted to refuse. Every part of him rebelled against the idea of asking for help. But when he looked into Amelia's eyes, he saw such fierce determination that he couldn't say no. All right, he said finally. Do what you think is best. Amelia kissed him hard. Trust me. And somehow, impossibly, he did. Amelia called the town meeting for the next evening. She stood in the church hall, watching as people trickled in, slowly, their faces curious but guarded. Mrs. Henderson sat in the front row, offering an encouraging smile, but most of the crowd looked skeptical. When the room was half full, Amelia began. Thank you all for coming. I know you're busy, and I promise not to waste your time. She took a breath. Tyler Jackson's ranch is in trouble. The bank is calling in his loans because of sabotage by Richard Miller. We have 30 days to raise $5,000, or Tyler loses everything his family built. The room erupted in whispers. Amelia pressed on. I'm not asking for charity. I'm asking you to remember what Tyler has done for this town. How many of you have jobs because of the Jackson Ranch? A few hands went up, hesitant. How many of you have borrowed equipment when yours broke? Received help during hard times? Had Tyler pay for medicine when your children were sick? More hands. Amelia felt hope flicker. This is our chance to help someone who spent his whole life helping others. Whatever you can give, $1, $10, anything, it matters. The silence that followed was deafening. Then old man Peterson stood up. I got $3, he said gruffly. It ain't much, but the Jackson Ranch gave my son work when nobody else would. He walked forward and pressed the money into Amelia's hand. The gesture broke something open in the room. One by one, people came forward. $1 here, 50 cents there. By the end of the night, they'd raised $300. Amelia tried to smile as she thanked them, but $300 was nowhere near enough. Tyler was waiting when she got back to the ranch. How much? $300. She watched his face fall. That's good. That's a start. Tyler, we need $5,000. I know the math, Amelia. He pulled her close. But $300 is $300 more than we had this morning, and we have 29 days left. What if it's not enough time? Then we'll figure something else out. But his voice lacked conviction, and they both knew it. Word of the fundraising spread quickly, and so did Richard Miller's response. The next morning, 3 families who'd donated came to Amelia's shop, asking for their money back. I'm sorry, Miss Brooks, John Wilson said, not meeting her eyes. But Mr. Miller made it clear that anyone helping Tyler Jackson won't be welcome at Miller's store anymore. We can't afford to be cut off. He can't do that. He owns half the businesses in town. He can do whatever he wants. Wilson's face was pained. I'm sorry, we need that $3 back. After they left, Amelia sat with her head in her hands. This was exactly what Miller wanted. Isolate Tyler, make helping him too costly, and watch everything crumble. Mrs. Henderson found her there an hour later. I heard, she said simply. Miller's threatening everyone. What are we going to do? We're going to fight back. Mrs. Henderson's eyes were fierce. That man has bullied this town for too long. It's time someone stood up to him. How? Leave that to me. You just focus on Tyler. Mum, but Tyler was falling apart. Amelia found him in the barn that afternoon, sitting among the hay bales with a bottle of whiskey. How much have you had? She asked. Not enough. He took another drink. The East Fence crew quit today. Said Miller offered them double wages to work for him instead. Amelia sat beside him. We'll find new crew. With what money I can barely pay the men I have. Tyler's laugh was bitter. Face it, Amelia. We're fighting a losing battle. Miller's going to win. So you're giving up? I'm being realistic. No, you're being a coward. The words came out sharper than she intended, but Amelia didn't take them back. The Tyler Jackson I fell in love with doesn't quit. He fights. Maybe you fell in love with the wrong man. Amelia grabbed the bottle from his hand and threw it against the wall where it shattered. Don't you dare. Don't you dare use this as an excuse to push me away. Tyler stared at the broken glass. I can't give you the life you deserve. I don't want the life I deserve. I want the life we build together. She forced him to look at her. Rich or poor, ranch or no ranch, I chose you. Don't make me regret it. Something in Tyler's expression cracked. I'm scared, Amelia. I'm terrified of failing you. Then fail with me by your side, but don't fail because you gave up. She kissed him hard. We still have 28 days. That's 28 days to fight. So get up, dust yourself off, and help me save this damn ranch. Tyler pulled her close, burying his face in her hair. What did I do to deserve you? Absolutely nothing. Now stop asking and start helping. The next morning, Catherine called them into her room. I've been thinking, she said, her voice still weak from the accident. About how to raise money. Mother, you need to rest. I need to help. Catherine opened a drawer and pulled out a velvet box. Inside was a diamond necklace that took Amelia's breath away. This was my mother's. It's worth at least $2,000. Tyler shook his head immediately. No, absolutely not. Tyler, that's a family heirloom. I won't let you sell it. And I won't sit here helpless while you lose your father's legacy. Catherine's voice hardened. This necklace is just a thing. The ranch is our future, your future with Amelia. That's worth more than any piece of jewelry. Mother, my mind is made up. She pressed the box into Amelia's hands. Take it to the jeweler in the city. Get the best price you can. Amelia looked at Tyler, who seemed torn between gratitude and guilt. Are you sure? She asked Catherine. I've never been more sure of anything. Catherine smiled. Besides, I'd rather see my son happy than wear diamonds. They took the necklace to the city the next day. The jeweler offered $1,800. It wasn't the full $2,000, but combined with what they'd raised, it brought them to just over $2,000 total. Still $3,000 short, with 26 days remaining. The town meeting that Friday was bigger. Word had spread about Catherine's sacrifice, and people were starting to talk. Mrs. Henderson had been busy rallying support, reminding people of every good deed the Jackson family had done over the years. This time, when Amelia stood up to speak, the room was packed. We've raised $2,000, she announced, thanks to your generosity and the sacrifice of Catherine Jackson. But we still need $3,000 more, and we're running out of time. What if we don't make it? Someone called out. Then Richard Miller wins. He gets the land he's wanted for years. He gets to crush the family that's been the backbone of this community. He gets everything. Amelia's voice rose. Is that what you want, to live in a town where bullies win and good people lose? What can we do? Another voice asked. Miller's already threatening anyone who helps. Then we stand together. All of us. He can't threaten everyone. Amelia looked around the room. I'm asking you to be brave. To be the kind of people who fight for what's right even when it's hard. Tyler Jackson would do it for any of you. Will you do it for him? The room was silent. Then a voice spoke from the back. I'll give $100. Everyone turned. Sarah Miller stood in the doorway, her chin raised defiantly. Sarah, Amelia breathed. My father is a bully and a thief. He sabotaged Tyler's ranch, threatened this town, and he's trying to destroy a good man out of spite. Sarah walked forward, every eye on her. I won't be part of it anymore. Here's my contribution. She handed Amelia a check for $100. The crowd began to whisper, then to move. If Sarah Miller could stand up to her father, they could too. By the end of the night, they'd raised another $800. They were still over $2,000 short, but the momentum had shifted. People were starting to believe they could win. War. Richard Miller's response was swift and vicious. The next morning, Sarah showed up at the ranch with a black eye and a split lip. "Oh my God!" Amelia gasped, pulling her inside. "What happened?" "My father. When he found out about the donation," Sarah's voice broke. "He threw me out. Said I was no longer his daughter." Tyler appeared in the doorway. "You need a doctor. I need a place to stay." Sarah looked at them both. "I know I don't deserve your help after everything I did, but I have nowhere else to go." Amelia and Tyler exchanged glances. Then Amelia said, "You can stay here, as long as you need." "Thank you." Sarah started crying. "I'm so sorry. For the lies, for trying to break you up, for everything. You're helping us now. That's what matters." Amelia hugged her, carefully mindful of her injuries. "We're going to stop your father. Together."
Chapter 10.
But Miller wasn't done. 3 days later, the bank sent another notice. They were moving up the deadline. Instead of 30 days, Tyler now had 10. "They can't do this," Tyler said, his voice shaking with rage. "They can if Miller convinced them we're a flight risk." Catherine looked pale. "We need that money now." They had just under $3,000. They needed $5,000. And they had 10 days. Amelia refused to panic. She called another meeting, sent word to every surrounding town, wrote letters to businesses the Jackson Ranch had supported over the years. She worked 18-hour days, barely sleeping, running on sheer determination. Tyler worked beside her, and together they kept each other going. By day 7, they'd raised another $600, still $1,400 short. By day 8, another $400, still $1,000 short with 2 days remaining. "We're not going to make it," Tyler said on the 9th day. "Yes, we are." Amelia's voice was fierce. "We're going to make it because we have to, because giving up isn't an option." Amelia: "No, I don't want to hear it. We have 1 day left, 1 day to raise $1,000, and we're going to do it." But how they'd tapped every resource, asked every person they could think of. Where would $1,000 come from in 24 hours? The answer came from the most unexpected source. That evening, a stranger arrived at the ranch. He was tall, well-dressed, and carried himself with quiet authority. "I'm looking for Tyler Jackson," he said. "I'm Tyler. Who are you?" "My name is James Wellington. I'm a cattle buyer from Chicago. I heard about your situation, and I'd like to help." Tyler's eyes narrowed. "Why would a stranger want to help me?" "Because 20 years ago, your father gave my father a job when no one else would. My family would have starved without Thomas Jackson's kindness. I've been looking for a way to repay that debt ever since." Wellington held out an envelope. "Here's $1,000. Consider it payment for future cattle deliveries." Tyler opened the envelope with shaking hands. $1,000 in cash, exactly what they needed. "I don't know what to say," Tyler said. "Say you'll keep being the kind of man your father was. That's payment enough." Wellington tipped his hat. "Good luck, Mr. Jackson." After he left, Tyler and Amelia stood in stunned silence. Then Amelia started laughing and crying at the same time. "We did it," she said. "We actually did it." Tyler pulled her into his arms, spinning her around. "We did it." They had the money. $5,000. They'd beaten Richard Miller. The next morning, Tyler and Amelia walked into the bank together. Richard Miller was already there, a smug smile on his face. "Jackson," he said, "come to beg for an extension." "Actually, I came to pay off my loans." Tyler set the cash on the counter. $5,000. Count it. Miller's face went white, then red. "Where did you get—" "Does it matter? The money's here. The loans are paid. You lose Miller." The bank manager counted the money carefully, then stamped the paperwork. "Your loans are satisfied, Mr. Jackson. Congratulations." Miller slammed his fist on the counter. "This isn't over." "Yes, it is." Tyler's voice was steel. "You sabotaged my ranch, threatened my town, and assaulted your own daughter. Sheriff Morrison has statements from everyone. You're done, Miller." As if on cue, Morrison walked through the door with 2 deputies. "Richard Miller, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit sabotage and assault." Morrison pulled out handcuffs. "You have the right to remain silent." Miller's protests echoed through the bank as they led him away. Tyler watched him go, then turned to Amelia. "It's really over," he said. "The fight is, but our life is just beginning." She kissed him. "Now we have a wedding to plan." They set the date for 2 weeks later. A small ceremony in the town church followed by a reception at the ranch. Simple, intimate, perfect. The morning of the wedding, Amelia stood in front of the mirror in her shop, wearing the silver ball gown that Tyler had given her. It seemed fitting somehow to wear the dress that had started everything. Mrs. Henderson fussed with her hair. "You look beautiful, dear." I looked terrified. "That's normal. Every bride is terrified. What if I mess up? What if I say the wrong thing? Then Tyler will laugh and you'll keep going. That's what marriage is stumbling through together." Mrs. Henderson squeezed her shoulder. "He loves you, Amelia. The rest is just details." Sarah knocked on the door. "It's time." They walked to the church together, where what seemed like the entire town had gathered. Amelia's hands shook as she stood at the entrance. Then the doors opened, and she saw Tyler waiting at the altar. He wore a black suit, his eyes bright with emotion, and when he smiled at her, every doubt vanished. She walked toward him, her heart pounding. Her eyes locked on his. This was real. This was happening. This was forever. Reverend Patterson began the ceremony. "Dearly beloved." The church doors burst open. Richard Miller stood in the entrance, wild-eyed and disheveled. He'd somehow escaped custody. "This wedding is a fraud," he shouted. "She's a gold digger and everyone knows it." Tyler moved to confront him, but Amelia put a hand on his arm. She turned to face Miller, her voice calm and clear. "You're right. I came from nothing. I had nothing. I was nothing in the eyes of people like you." She looked around the church. "But Tyler saw me anyway. Not my poverty, not my status, just me. And he chose to love me despite every reason not to." She turned back to Miller. "That's not fraud. That's courage. And it's something you'll never understand because you've spent your whole life believing that money is the only thing that matters. You can't. Sheriff Morrison is right outside those doors. You can either leave quietly or he can take you back to jail in handcuffs in front of everyone. Your choice." Miller looked around the church, saw the hard faces staring back at him, and his shoulders slumped. He turned and left without another word. Morrison appeared in the doorway. "Sorry about that, folks. Got away from us. Won't happen again." After he escorted Miller out, Reverend Patterson cleared his throat. "As I was saying, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to join Tyler Jackson and Amelia Brooks in holy matrimony." The ceremony continued. They exchanged vows, their voices steady despite everything. When Patterson pronounced them husband and wife, Tyler kissed Amelia like she was the only thing keeping him alive. The church erupted in applause. The reception was everything Amelia had dreamed of, and nothing she'd expected. The entire town came bringing food and gifts and laughter. Catherine gave a toast that made everyone cry. Sarah gave one that made everyone laugh. And when Tyler and Amelia took the floor for their first dance, the whole room seemed to hold its breath. "We did it," Tyler whispered as they swayed together. "We survived," Amelia corrected. "More than survived. We won. Against all odds, against everyone's expectations, we won." "What do we win?" Tyler pulled back to look at her. "Each other. Every day for the rest of our lives. That's the prize, Amelia. That's what we fought for." Later, as the party wound down and guests began to leave, Tyler and Amelia stood on the porch watching the sun set over the ranch. The same ranch that had almost been lost, now saved by love and community and sheer stubborn determination. "Do you regret it?" Tyler asked. "Any of it?" "Not even a little." Amelia leaned into him. "This is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Even though you married a cowboy who almost lost everything, especially because of that." You showed me what real strength looks like, what real love looks like." She turned to face him. "In your arms, my rags really did turn to silk. Not the dress, not the money, not the ranch. You made me feel valuable when the whole world told me I was worthless. That's the real transformation." Tyler kissed her softly. "I love you, Amelia Jackson. I love you too. And I'm going to keep loving you through every challenge, every setback, every victory. That's my vow to you. Not just today, but every day." They stood together as darkness fell, two people who'd found each other against impossible odds, who'd fought for their love, and one who'd built something real and lasting from nothing but faith and determination. The ranch lights flickered on behind them, warm and welcoming. Their home, their future, their forever. And in that moment, wrapped in Tyler's arms, with their whole lives ahead of them, Amelia knew with absolute certainty that every struggle, every tear, every moment of doubt had been worth it for this. For love that transformed everything. It touched for a partnership built on truth and trust for a future they'd create together one day at a time. This was their beginning, hard-won and perfect, and nothing would ever take it away from them again.